Hello, everybody. It's just going to be me tonight. Mike is, well, we'll get into that in just a second. I'm JB, and welcome from North to Wharf, your one-stop but verified destination for Bob's Burgers information. I'll be your host. No, I'm not going to say the most because it's corny, but we're going to talk about tonight mostly is new episodes, some news. Maybe we'll do a little bit of trivia or ask me some questions since Mike won't be here to keep us off track. But Mike is he's working the state fair, so he's put up north the wharf, and he's now he's gone to the Carnies. He's going to Carneopolis. Not sure if he's directing traffic or what he's up to over there, but he is busy at the state fair for the next couple weeks. So, hey, Cello. So yeah, he'll be with us though in spirit, and he said he might pop in. He was going to pop in earlier, but when we had tech issues, I think he jumped off just to see if that would cause. We'll at least fix it. And it looks like it did. But how is everybody doing on this awesome Monday? Mike stole the password. Yeah, he almost did. I thought maybe he did. He had a grin on his face when I was like, hey, it's not working. It's not going live. And he's like, really? I don't know what to tell you about that. Oh, there he is. Oh, I'm here, and I'm keeping you on track. Good. Do it. I like the new name, too. So, Mike is here in spirit and also in the chat. So if you want to ask Mike questions, by all means, go ahead, and I will make sure that he answers them while he still can. But yeah, he finally went to Carneopolis, and he has joined his Carney folk. And yeah, we wish him the best. I know this will definitely be an experience. It always leads to some good stories later when he's all done. So how's everybody on this Monday? How did you think of the new episodes? We're going to talk about that as well. But let's first get into some news. So first things for news this week. There's some merch that's on the horizon, but nothing too new. The Funko Pops are out. You can find them in the wild. Mike has been able to see them several times, it seems. Oh, yeah, Cartoon Chronicles. I was definitely going to bring that up, too. Good point. Thank you, Christine, for reminding me about that. But the Funko Pops are out. There's the four. There's Bob. And basically just wearing literally just leaves, and he's got mud and sticks all over him from the camping episode. We also have Gail and Mr. Business. We have Mr. Fish Odor, and then we also have Jimmy Jr., who joins the Funko Pop realms with the rest of the Belchers. Those are out. Mike was able to catch some of them. I've seen them at Barnes & Noble, and I looked at Target tonight. I did not see them there, but they are around. They do have small hands. It smells like cabbage, if you know the reference. But yeah, from good Austin Powers. But yeah, wait, there were a new episode. There was a new episode. Just one, sorry. Just one new episode. So that's some of the merch that's out. There's the Five Below stuff as well, the figures that we're starting to see pop around, especially on Facebook, on the Facebook group page. And I've seen them also on eBay. They do want like $20 a figure for 5 of them. See if you can just get them at Five Below, or I've noticed Macari has them a little bit better priced if you're trying to get the set. They're a little bit bigger than the other ones. They're about, let's say, about as big as this heater remote. So they're about that big, but they're nice. Whereas Mike, wouldn't you like to know, Aaron? Wouldn't you like to know? Oh, he's a Carney now. That's what he's doing. He's in the chat, I think. He might still be here. But yeah, he finally joined the Carnies over at Wonder Wharf, and that's what he's going to be doing for the next, I think, 2 weeks. The other stuff that's coming out is the Golden Book. That'll be out on January 6th. So if you haven't ordered it yet, there are pre-orders available on Amazon and several other places for it as well. You also can get the Activity Book, which is a family book, is how they're kind of marketing it. And it's supposed to have like puzzles and games and trivia and all kinds of things to do. And it's a paperback, so it's not hardback, but that also comes out next year on March 10th, and you can pre-order it as well. And that's at Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Amazon. You can get all that pre-ordered there. The big thing that I want to make sure everybody knows, if you haven't got a copy of that book right there, which is the Art of Bob's Burgers book, which is huge, amazing, and nice, and just such... If you're a fan, everyone should have it, which is why I'm bringing it up. It is priced at $50. but I was able to find it on Amazon on sale currently for $34. So if you do not have it yet, do yourself a favor and give yourself an early Christmas gift / Thanksgiving gift and get yourself The Art of Bob's Burgers. It's an amazing book. It's such a deep dive of history, drawings, doodles, knowledge, stories. There's a little bit of everything in it. The comic books, the DVD covers, the movie posters, the posters that didn't get made that they actually drew up, like all kinds of behind the scenes things. It's really, really worth getting. So for $34, it's a great deal. So if you haven't gotten it yet, Amazon does have it on sale for $34. Also with the art book, did anyone enter to win the free copy of the signed art book, the recipe cards, and the calendars that Rizzoli Books had put out over the weekend? That started, I think, on Wednesday afternoons when we noticed they posted it, and then it ended last night at midnight. But if you were able to get your name in it, all you had to do was just follow them and tag a friend who you thought deserved the book. And then there wasn't that many entries. When I looked, I think it was less than 1,000. So the odds were not that bad. So pretty cool. You can get yourself an autographed copy for you and a friend of the book, as well as the calendars for next year, which is the monthlies and the daily. And then you'd also get the brand new recipe cards that also came out as well. So pretty good if you were able to win it. The other things that I do have to announce before we jump into the episode discussions is there's also, if you're familiar with David Creek, if not, I can give you a little background real quick on him. David Creek is the character designer who ended up joining Bob's right after Jay Howell designed the characters from the intro of the art book, the ones that we usually kind of see at the very, very beginning. They went to David Creek afterwards and asked for him to kind of help out. And he is the kind of the way that you see the Belchers now is because David drew them that way. So the reason I bring him up is that he passed away a few years ago, but he wanted to create and did create before he passed away a ton of bonsai trees with tree houses in them. It was a kind of a passion project of his. And he made about, I think there's 5 or 6 of these now, and they're huge. They're really cool too, and they're super intricate. And he wanted them to go from children's hospital to children's hospital to bring joy to kids. And his goal was that when he retired from Bob's, he was going to do that full time and make as many as he could and send them out. So unfortunately, since he passed away, we only have the 5 or 6 that he did. But they are going from hospital to hospital, and there's the David Creek Foundation that's doing that. Dave's Traveling Tree Houses. And Toddland has made some merchandise for them. There's 2 designs. They've been drawn from artists on the show who are friends of Dave's and wanted everyone to kind of know his story and understand why he wanted to do this for kids and to make them feel good and special as they were going through like cancer treatments and stuff like that. So all the donations for the merchandise for David Creek's fund goes to the foundation. That's a nonprofit to keep them moving and keep them going from hospital to hospital because they have to transport them in boxes and ship them. So it does get a little costly to do that, but it does bring a lot of joy to kids. So it's a good cause. So we just wanted to show you guys and promote it. And you can find all that merchandise over at Toddland. And there's also a book as well that's like made for kids, but it does give a little background story about that. Let's see, was there anything else news-wise? Not that I can think of. So besides that, that is the news, everybody. Yeah, it was really cool. Like they really tried to promote it too. Rizzoli promoted that over the entire weekend. So they really wanted people to get it. And then we posted it as well. I made a post of it, I think on Friday for Fan Art Friday, just so people could maybe get in and try to get in there. And then on Saturday, they posted it again, and I think we shared it. So we're trying to get as many people in as we could. Let's see. Let's talk new episode. If you are someone who has not watched the new episode, this is your time to exit. I'm giving you the heads up. I don't know if Mike would be as courteous, but I'll be courteous and give you the heads up that, hey, this might be the time to leave. Let's see here. I found the Tina Muggets yesterday. I had a huge chip. Oh, that sucks, Christine. That had the chip in it. There's been some interesting stuff at Goodwill. Occasionally I'll find like a Coochie Kopi mug or one of the glassware like Tina or Louise, but usually they are chipped or there's something wrong with it. And that makes it hard to like I mean, I want to bring it back, but also it's like, they're chipped and broken, and then I have to try to fix it. So it's not always the best situation. But some people find some gems. There was someone who found the Vincent van Gogh Bob in a print form, like on an actual canvas. That was super cool. But if you check out like the Bob's Burgers Facebook page, occasionally you'll see people posting cool stuff they found over on Goodwill. So let's jump into this new episode here. So the new episode that we had this week was Get Her to the Zeke. So for this one, we had the store next door, which was a wool emu store, which was interesting. And then we also had the pest control van, which is Mice Be Nice. Mice Be Mice, which is the whole play on the nice, must be nice. And then we also had the writers this week were Wendy and Lizzie. So we had them over from the Great North, and they've always written for Bob's, but they're back to write their episode for the season. Hopefully we get another one too, because I always enjoy the Wendy and Lizzie stories. They're always pretty interesting and good to hear. And then directed this week, we had Ryan Mattis stepping up and doing that. So I don't know about you, but I was super excited to see Ron and Hugo back. I was excited to get some good Zeke time in there. There were some interesting things too for this episode. We had some guest stars. We had a comedian in there. We had Jana Smelding. She was on Reservation Dogs. And then we also had another guest, which was Mary Elizabeth Ellis, which, if you know, is the waitress from It's Always Sunny, and also married to Charlie Kelly. She was on the show last night, and she played Penelope, which we'll get into kind of a piece of work that she is. And it kind of worked out well for her because it kind of was her playing a character that she knows very well. Let's see here. Pretty sure the episode was all right. A bit predictable, but it was good. I would say it was a little bit, but I will say there were some things in there that I want to see if other fans agree with or disagree with when it comes to Tina's vision of Zeke. We have a three-way dance. I did like the end credits. I thought it was fun, the dance that they coordinated together, because they talked about it at the end of the episode, and then you get to see it in the credits, which is nice. And I'm curious if Aaron helped out with that or if someone else drew that one up. It was nice to see Ron and Hugo. It has been a long time. It's been since the movie. You were right. We haven't seen them in quite a while. We haven't seen the pest van drive around Ocean Avenue. So it was good to see them. Good to see that Ron Lynch is back and Sam Hader's back. So it's good to see them do that. I'm always down to see more of Ron and Hugo. I don't think they get enough credit for all the things they do or how chaotic they were, especially at the beginning of the show's run, and how each time they're in an episode, they do bring quite a bit of chaos, which I enjoy to see. There was no Teddy, though. Interesting enough, no Teddy this week. And we did get our first Little King Trashmouth and Gary sighting for a while. So there seemed to be good and well. And then let's see here. What else did we have this week? It was interesting to kind of see the layers that actually are there with Zeke. So how many of you kind of... I didn't help with the end credits other than retake. Okay. Well, that's fine, Aaron. I know you get busy, as it says, the tired artist. So I'm sure you've been working a lot and getting episodes ready for us, which we appreciate. So... But what did you guys think of this week's episode? Did you enjoy it? Not enjoy it as much? What'd you think of it? I personally thought it was pretty good. Could be a little bit better. But for me, I enjoyed it. The only critiques I really had was that I would have liked a little bit more with the B plot. But it's a time thing. You only got 23 minutes or 21 minutes to do an episode. So you can't always get that kind of elaboration. That was fun. I enjoyed seeing them. But yeah, Gary and Little King Trashmouth, always welcomed to see them on screen. And I love that they literally tried to steal the food. They're not afraid of the traps or anything like that, since we've seen them in the past. They always seem to not stray away from Linda or taking food from humans. They like Bob's Burger, so that worked too. Well, El Diablo did. But for the rest of you, what did you think of this week's episode? Did you find it entertaining? Did you enjoy it? Did you miss things about it? I'd love to get into the whole idea about Zeke and maybe Tina kind of realizing that maybe Jimmy Jr. isn't exactly all he's meant to be in her eyes, especially with that last quote at the end where Jimmy Jr. is like, he's a real softie. He just is a real romantic. He wants to be connected with people and wants to have that. and he brings up that like Jimmy Jr. doesn't really get it because he dates a lot. He understands it better than anyone else, but that Zeke feels pretty alone and no one really connects with him. So that hopeless romantic met his match with Tina. Yeah, for a moment there when Jimmy Jr. said about Tina and about Zeke lining romance and getting kicked out of the restaurant, I thought of the moment that I think Tina did have a little bit of a realization that she had really misjudged Zeke. And I kind of was hoping that she kind of understood. I almost thought maybe she was going to be like, then I'm just going to go with Zeke. And that was going to be the turning point. But I think we're never going to get to see that. But I do think the wheels have turned a little bit in Tina's head that maybe Jimmy Jr. is not the person that she thinks he is, and he's not as sensitive as her. And she definitely, I think, found somebody with Zeke who kind of is. He's a hopeless romantic. He brought up so many rom-com references that he would love to happen to him or to do for somebody else. He's just a hopeless romantic and wants to be kind of just seen that way. But he has that exterior that people kind of get nervous around or afraid of because of his attention or his like wanting to wrestle or be that kind of person. But I think deep down Zeke really just wants to be understood. So it was interesting after that quote that it was kind of maybe Tina started getting it. There's a couple other moments I think too where he brought the flower for Penelope and she was just like, oh, you brought a flower, and Jimmy Jr. kind of scrambled and was like, I found this rock. Like he wants a rock, but he's like, I guess it's kind of dirty, but you can have it if you want. And it was just like that extra amount of attention again that Zeke was like, I don't even know this girl, but she wanted to go out with me and is giving me the time of day, so I'm gonna get her a flower. It's just, and he dressed up, he put on like cologne, he took a bath or a shower and like cleaned himself up. Like he really wanted to dress to impress and wanted to really put his best foot forward with this person, and that shows a lot for Zeke. He really wants to have that connection. So Tina, I think, definitely picked up on that. She definitely noticed it. So Jimmy Jr. should be on notice that he may need to step it up a little bit if he wants to keep Tina around. Because I think at the end of the day, Tina did what she did and ended up inviting Zeke to be their third partner for the dance because she didn't want him to be alone or be with Penelope, who's a terrible person. But I think she kind of understood that Zeke needed something like that. Gary is trying to find my boys. I always try to snag a shot of them if I can. No, I would too. They're not in enough episodes. I do think it'd be fun if there was more stories surrounding the King and Gary and the rest of the raccoons in the alley. It could be a fun little side character or side project almost. That was just like a B plot. I'd be okay with that. Linda telling stories about the raccoons and people actually listening. It'd be interesting. I'd like that. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really well done. It felt good. Yeah, it could have been a little bit, you kind of knew where it was going to go, but I do think it had a couple nods to Tina recognizing that maybe Jimmy Jr. isn't as romantic as he initially was at the beginning of the show's run, and that maybe it's just not the right way to kind of just do that. I mean, we don't have to think of it as that, Yahoo. I don't think it has to be political and that idea, but I think it is more of this idea that, like, I think Tina has had it in her head that Jimmy Jr. is the one, and that it's like her first kiss. It's the first person she wanted, and it's the first person that she's been with as it comes to dating. And she's like, so maybe it's just this idea of like, well, why would I want to like look around or see if there's somebody different? Like she had Josh. But then again, she gets called back in with Jimmy Jr. because she messed up because she wanted both and wanted to have her cake. And I think it's now to the point that she's kind of growing up a little bit. She kind of notices more of what she likes and what she wants when it comes to like a partner or like a person to date. So I think she's starting to realize maybe Jimmy Jr. is not all that he's cracked up to be. At least when he's around a lot of people, he's not the nicest person sometimes. I think you get to see flares of it, but it's not always as apparent as it was earlier in the show's run. And then it was nice to see Bobby Tisdale. He does a great job with Zeke. I enjoy when he gets a little like emotional with Zeke. We got to see with the bullying episode, or when Zeke was going to get sent away for like getting expelled from school. Oh, with like, will they, won't they, with who? Like Jimmy Jr. or with like Zeke? I know they've been playing this for a little bit, but like, I don't think we're ever going to get an answer with it. I think it's more or less, it's just kind of figuring it out for Tina. Tina's going to take some time to figure it out because she does have a lot of stock in Jimmy Jr. And I think really deep down she wants it to be him, but it just may not be. And I think that's when maybe Tina's going to realize that Zeke's been out there the whole time. Because, I mean, he's made comments before, like, I'm going to get you at the end, girl. It's going to happen. Like, we're going to tell the story at our wedding. So, like, he's made comments. And I think he's thought about it. You have, like, the odor games where she's like, what would you take me out on a date? How would you, like, what would you do? Zeke crushes it. And Jimmy is awful at it. He's miserable. Like, he has no idea what to do. So maybe at the end of the day, I mean, I'm always going to ship Zeke. I think Zeke and Tina are really the pair. I don't think it's Jimmy Jr., but we'll never know. More time will tell. Maybe near the end of the show's run, we'll kind of get a glimpse of, like, maybe she goes out with somebody else and really realizes that Jimmy Jr. is more of just a friend, and that's that. I'm sure some fans would be upset by that, but if you've watched the progression, it almost would make sense. At that point, it would happen. Eventually. Maybe. And then we have our B plot with the super rats. I feel like a missed opportunity for Teddy to be involved, but it did allow for another character to step in, and we got more Ron and Hugo, so maybe with Teddy it would have just been too much, too many cooks in the kitchen, literally. So now we actually will maybe get some, and Teddy was a big focus in the last episode too. So I think it's okay. It makes sense to take a step back and have other characters come in. It allows for people like Ron and Hugo to have their time on screen. Oh, the Teddy episode was so much fun. I love that literally he picked up the wrong mom at the airport. It's a total Teddy move. And the idea that he didn't realize it until midway through, and like he wears that huge cross, like he does so much to try to make a good impression because he really likes Kathleen. And even like we got a glimpse of kind of Teddy's intentions with Kathleen too, when he tells that, I guess it's the same mom's name, but like different mom, that he cares very much about her. So I think we're kind of seeing that like Teddy is laying the groundwork to kind of be like, I'm really love Kathleen and like really into her, and I don't want that to get ruined. And he's trying to make a good impression with the parents. So me and Mike had talked about at some point, will we see maybe not a wedding? I don't know if the show will do that, but we could see something along the lines of maybe Kathleen and Teddy moving in together, maybe getting a new apartment, maybe cleaning out. Teddy finally cleans out his old apartment and we get rid of all the hoarding stuff, and maybe they live together, and that's how they kind of progress, and that's maybe as far as they go. But I think that does keep Kathleen in the loop then and allows her to kind of be part of that dynamic. It'll be interesting if they do that, how to add her into that to keep her relative and fresh each time that she's in it. I think they've done a good job so far with that, keeping her here and there and having her kind of pop in for a little bit. It keeps it going. And I agree with you, Guy McCoy. This season has been solid. It's been really good from start to finish. I was reading on Reddit, some people were saying that they thought there's a few episodes this season that they didn't care for, but I was like, I don't know how you could. They seem really good. Shop for a future. I think we could get that. Yahoo, I think we could get that. Maybe Linda and Bob help Teddy finally do that. And Mike brought up a good point about it last time we were talking about it, is that Teddy has a tendency to go too much, which is why he kind of like makes that boat to try to get Denise back, when really it's just like, if he really kind of thought about it, she wasn't going to get back with him. So there was no point. And I think he and Zeke are a lot alike in that way. They're hopeless romantics in a lot of ways, and they really have a soft side. They just want someone to notice it and to care for them and to show that and kind of reciprocate it. And Teddy's looking for that. He's kind of found it with like the Belchers, because he's kind of gets that connection that he's been longing for, feeling like he's part of something, whether it's Bob's Burgers and fixing it up, or like helping his buddy out and having a friend in Bob and Linda and helping them remember their anniversary days and their birthdays and things like that, trying to make sure that they feel as special each day as he does, being part of that world with them. And he likes their kids, he takes care of them, he's watched them before. Like, Teddy really does care. And I think him being connected to someone like Kathleen, who accepts him for who he is and doesn't want to change him or make him like be somebody he's not, or like the way that they described Denise at the beginning, it's like making him sleep outside because he like ate food she didn't like or stuff like that. So he didn't have a great first marriage or first run. So it is nice to see that, like, when Kathleen's into like handball or curling or hurling, and Teddy's like, I don't even understand, I don't get it, but he tries his best to make it feel special, and that he does care about her hobbies. He does, it's just he doesn't have to be invested in them, and it's nice to see that she doesn't make him. But Mike did bring up, is the show ready to do a proposal? Would they be able to, like, would they want to do that, or do they feel like it's too grounded or too much to do? And I don't know. I could ask Aaron, but I don't want him to give an answer, because then I don't want someone to be like, well, he said it, so it's a thing. And it's like, no, I think it's just thinking out loud. It'd be sweet. This could be one of those two-parter episodes. That could be nice. But Teddy's so over the top that he almost like self-sabotages himself. And he gets in his head and he's like, well, what if this happens? Or what if she says no? Or what if I mess it up? I think it could be something where Teddy thinks he does mess up the proposal so bad that actually Kathleen's just like, you could never mess it up. Hey, Homer. But it could be something where it's just, it works itself out pretty well. It's sort of like, kind of like Beef and Allison. I like that analogy. It does work. It's like except she's like Allison's always been the elusive one to Beef. Like, Beef's always liked Allison, and she's always liked Beef, but she's always been with someone, so it doesn't work. Except at the last part of the season, she was still with someone, but they still had their moment. And I think if the show was able to continue, we probably would have seen more of Allison. So, let's see. Yeah, they're going to have a night off and just show the Grand Prix pre-opening again. And I think that's fine. It makes sense. And that's why we're actually going to do trivia probably the following day, because there's no new episode then. So, yeah, I don't get involved in the writing. That's fine. You do a great job at writing, so you don't have to be super involved in the writing process. But you could always, throw out some of these ideas if you see fit, Aaron. But it'd be interesting. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great even if Teddy was so over the top and so whatever, and Kathleen's still like, why'd you do all that? You didn't have to do all this to impress me. I'm already impressed by you. And like, just to have Teddy watch him hear stuff like that and just kind of melt, I think would be great. I don't think Bob and Linda are pretty much the only people who compliment him or tell him he's doing a good job or telling him that they appreciate him. The kids do too. So I think that's why he attaches to the Belchers so much. But it would be really cool to see Teddy attach and really just kind of be like, this person cares about me on a level that most people don't. It's going to be another night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're kind of spreading things out. And I think it's because of the holidays. Because we'll have all these Thanksgiving things. There's a lot of football and stuff like that. So it makes sense that they'd spread it out a little bit. So they'll be back, though. I'm not super worried about it. We'll get another episode on the 23rd, which is when we get the next one, which is Two for Tina. And that's going to be written by like Nora and Holly. So they've written a lot of episodes together. Nora usually writes with Lauren, but it's nice to see that she's doing it with Holly Schlesinger as well. We should get to know. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get those. I'm not super concerned about it. I think we'll get them probably in December. There's probably going to be some episodes littered throughout that month, and then there might be a little bit of a break again. And I think that's just kind of how things are going to be. It makes sense to be some breaks in between episodes at this point, especially around the holidays, especially since we're not getting a Thanksgiving one this year. So I think there's no reason to like air another episode. It'd be fine. Honestly, I'd be fine if Fox ran like a Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving special where they had all of the episodes run as a marathon. I think that'd be fine. or if they just littered them like 2 or 3 in a block and we got all of them over like the Thanksgiving weekend, I think that could be fun. But you can always watch them on Hulu. They've got Bob's Giving, and you can just watch all of them in a row. I've been doing that repeatedly, which helps me get the trivia for you guys in the mornings. And that'll help me get some of this stuff too as well, because we're going to do a Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving trivia, me and Mike, on the 17th. So that Monday right after the off day for the show. So that way we'll do some Thanksgiving stuff. Maybe we'll give away something. Who knows? Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But maybe we'll do some fun stuff and try to lead into Thanksgiving with something fun and enjoyable for everybody. I don't know if we have new episodes a day or two before. Well, you can't be mad at the show for things like that. They're not in charge of the scheduling. It's more of a Fox thing. And honestly, it's probably more of an NFL thing and probably more of a like bowl game thing and all that stuff. And I think Animation Domination has kind of like understood that like it's better just to kind of wait and not be around that stuff, because it's just too much to compete with when it comes to like not rating wise, but more or less just the money and advertising and things like that. College football makes a lot of advertising money for them and other things. So they're going to push that. And that's fine. Me and Mike have talked about that a lot, where it's just, it makes the most financial sense. It allows for Bob's and other shows to have their airtime and to do that stuff. So it is what it is. And after 16 seasons, I've kind of accepted it at this point. It is what it is. Back on Friday recently. Yeah, we're going to get some episodes in December. That's pretty standard. We should be getting at least, I would expect at least 2 or 3. And we know that Christmas one's coming on the 14th. Yeah, we were able to see at Comic-Con some clips and things from that episode. It looks good. We got to see the animatics and some things and some stills. It looks like a solid episode. I'm excited for it. It'll be cool to see how they get Logan involved again. So, and then with that model train, it looks like maybe there's a heist kind of situation going on with that. So that could be kind of fun. Maybe a little bit like Great North, a little bit with that heisting of the train. But if it's like a Christmas Village type of thing, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different things there. A lot of trees, I'm sure that Linda will be very excited about as well, if I had to guess. Let's see. Universal Basic Guys to Jam says, yeah, I think what we're getting is a lot of these shows are working down to 15 to 13 episodes. I think we more than know that like the 22, 21 episode runs are going to be done. We're just down to 15s now. But that doesn't mean that like the stories are going to change that much or anything like that. I think it's more that we're going to get maybe some more fleshed out, solid writing stories, which we've seen this season. It's been very solid. So, yeah, it's going to be all Animation Domination. All of the shows are down to like 15. And I think that's just for scheduling. I think it's for block. I think it's for them to keep gaps to a minimal. And I think scheduling was just getting too much with 6 shows at once. Especially with like American Dad coming back and like Family Guy and Simpsons, and like there's just a lot of cooks now in this kitchen of Animation Domination, is trying to figure out how do we navigate that. So I think the 15 episode runs for seasons is the way we're going to do that. It's just easier to block it that way, maybe. But yeah, the next week's episode that we get is on the 23rd, and that is the 2 for Tina. So that's going to be where Tina and Linda go shopping, and Tina gets a tube top, which Linda is not cool with and has a lot of feelings about. And then we also get the rest of the gang and Teddy are dealing with the fact that a rare exotic bird has crashed into the window of the restaurant. And I'm sure there's going to be some things involved about that. Maybe Bosco. It'd be cool to see him there. But it looks like the guest star is going to be Marin Dungy. So I haven't looked them up yet, but I would assume they're going to be playing some role. I guess either shopkeeper for Linda and Tina or the person who deals with the bird issue at the restaurant. So that's what we're looking at for next week. And that's what, on the 23rd, that's what we're going to be seeing. So let's see. We have trivia on the 17th. Make sure everyone knows about that. And then we won't have Mike back either till the 17th. So he's going to be doing his Carney stuff until then. And then also, I don't know if anyone caught this, but is there anyone out there who's a Coen Brothers fan, like the movie directors, like Big Lebowski, Raising Arizona, Blood Simple, maybe? Because it seems like Wendy and Lizzie or someone in the show really enjoys the Coen Brothers, or maybe went and saw one of their recent movies, because there are 2 Coen Brother references in this last episode of Bob's Burgers. There is a Spud Simple, which is the restaurant they went to, which is based on Blood Simple. And then also in the background, there is a storefront. It's called Glazing Arizona Store. I'm guessing a pottery store. And it's based on Raising Arizona, another Coen Brothers film. So somebody was really into the Coens this time around when it came to Bob's Burgers. Also, there's so much to say about Penelope and just the weirdness involved with the food. Bringing her own lettuce. I love that the waiter was just like, "Oh, it's you, the girl who doesn't eat potatoes and brings her own food. I'll bring you a plate of ice." So I don't think even if Zeke had gone with this person that it would have worked out. I just don't see that. It actually seems like it'd be miserable for him. So I'm glad that it didn't. And we got the end credits, which Yahoo brought up earlier, is that we had the 3 of them doing a coordinated dance sequence, which I actually had really, really enjoyed. And I know Aaron said he didn't have much to say about it, but he did help with the retake part of it. So all in all, I like this episode. If I had to rank it, I wouldn't say it's like on the tops, but I did enjoy it. I really liked it. I thought it was a solid episode. And then if we're going to get into anything else tonight, we'll mostly just kind of get into anything you guys really wanted to talk about before we wrap things up, because there really isn't too much news-wise going on. It's been kind of a light week when it comes to Bob stuff. Oh, that was a great sequence, Aaron. I enjoyed the Tina being like, "Don't do that with my potato," and just like watching it go. And literally that Jimmy Jr., when she's like, "She slid my potato off the table," he's like, "Oh my God." Like, it's just, I don't know, like Tammy's bad, but Penelope was another level of like sadistic and bad. Like, she was fine getting Tina out of the picture, setting Jimmy Jr. up with somebody else, getting her out of the whole thing with the dance. And Tina was the nice one who brought her into the fold. It was just crazy that she was that sadistic about it. But Aaron, did you use references for this? No, did you get like a bunch of Wendy's baked potatoes and do all of that kind of stuff? And honestly, I would have loved going to this Spud Simple place. I'm a huge potato person, and just a buffet of you picking what you want and putting it on potatoes sounds fascinating to me, and more than nice. Yeah, I agree, Yahoo. Penelope made Tammy look like a saint. She did. She was all kinds of evil and rude and twisted, and then they're like, "Oh, we should talk about stuff." She's like, "Why don't we talk about cousins? Like, I have a cool cousin that I think would be great for Jimmy Jr." It's like, and this is her dance move. She does all kinds of dancing, knowing that Jimmy Jr. loves dancing, which is interesting that we never see Penelope out there, but she's been taking notes, a little almost Millie-esque. She knows enough about people that she can set these kind of things up, manipulate, I guess is a better way to put it. Tony wanted very specific. Like, was there like a reference from what you wanted? Like, is there any scene or from a movie or something of food being pushed off the table that you're like, "That's what I want"? Or was he very much just like, "This is how I want it to look," and like drew it all out and like storyboarded and been like, "I want it to be slow and I want it to build until it finally goes plop"? I also loved, let me ask this, Aaron, was it always the thought that literally the waiter would just pick it up and go, "There you go," and put it back on? Because that also made me chuckle quite a bit. So it was just like, that's exactly how I feel waiters do stuff sometimes. "This steak's not done, is it? Let me take it back." Flip, bring it back out. Oh yeah, she didn't break eye contact. That's amazing that you guys kept that. Because I was like, they just can't. She has to be that twisted that she's just like, "I want you to know that I literally hate you." in every way, and I'm going to take everything you like away from you. Almost like it almost felt like her whole goal was to kind of slip into that friend group and take over it, because she's like, you just don't belong, Tina. And I was like, that's wild that somebody's willing to cut somebody out like that, and that's pretty savage. Unfortunately, there are people out there who do that, but watching it on a cartoon and seeing it in real life too, it's just like, it's just wild that people are willing to do that. Yeah, no, it was solid. Someone, I will say, whoever, is it Wendy and Lizzie who wrote that episode too? This might be a thing I'll have to do some deep diving, but maybe you guys can help me out with this. So there are a couple episodes where things are brought up about food, in particular with like food service. This one we had like the waiter wiping off the potato and putting it back on. But in the Great North, there was the episode where Ham's doing the Italian restaurant and they just wash the noodles. And that was also brought up in Bob's Burgers with trans noodles. Trans noodles were day-old noodles, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? Throw away the noodles? I use the old noodles. So somewhere along this line, whether it's Wendy or Lizzie or somebody worked at a restaurant and has a lot of feelings or opinions or knows a lot about how servers and food stuff happens, because those kind of things I'm sure do happen out there. Because most of the people who are writers write what they know, because it's like you can write about it and it's easier to talk about and it's fun to make jokes that way about it because it's like you've been there. So be interested to see if somebody actually saw someone do that at a restaurant and put it back on the plate. So a poser. I don't know if she's like a poser, because she's Millie-esque in how twisted she is. Like, she has an agenda. But it's almost like she's almost like a chameleon. She acts a certain way around people, and then she turns into something when she feels threatened. Tammy kind of does it a little bit, but she usually just gets awkward and then farts. Or just kind of like loses control of it and can't manage it and just tries to like act like nothing bad happened. Like when she said that she's Miss Am I Normal? And thinking that she was and she wasn't. Then she just kind of was like, well, yeah, whatever. But Penelope is another level. And it makes me go back to Millie and Fortnite. Like that kind of demented and twisted and just not getting it and just being like, it's fine if somebody gets hurt or somebody's feelings are hurt, it doesn't matter. So I wouldn't doubt it. No, I don't either. Like, it's just interesting that it keeps getting brought up with the food stuff. And also Hugo rating Bob's Kitchen in his own apartment as a C-. I love that nod. That was fun. Hugo being jealous of Ron is also interesting. Ron's like the nicest guy, and all he wants to do is just be a part of things. He's like, I just want to be included, and literally, he can't have it. So I would like to see, and we've talked about this too, episodes from different characters' perspectives. I would love an episode from Ron and what Ron's life is like and how it is dealing with Hugo, and like just seeing that, like, as Ron even says, like, I'd like a burger. I think Ron does like Bob's Burgers. I think he likes Bob. I think he doesn't understand why Hugo's so mean to him, which is why I think he made him apologize when he put the grease rags on the floor and the restaurant caught on fire. Like, and he's like, and I'm sure Hugo will help set that up with the insurance and help pay some of that deductible. Like, Ron, I think, genuinely likes Bob and wants him to be successful. He just, I think, does it in his own way. And I know I've talked to Mike about this in particular, but I'd love an episode if it's from Ron's perspective. We see all the things that Ron does during kind of like the visits that Hugo does, all the inspections that Ron actually helps all these restaurants do better and pass inspections, or he like makes it easier for them so that Hugo's not as mean, just because he enjoys the food and enjoys the people, and he knows that they're working really hard to get a business to work. So he's just like, I don't know why Hugo's so hard on you guys. So I'd be interested to see if, like, behind the scenes, if Ron's actually doing a lot of that stuff. Ron, yes, was a reference. No, I got that one. I'm glad that they did it too, because I caught it and I didn't know if anyone else would catch it. But yeah, Ron's yes. It was a total Napoleon Dynamite reference. I loved it because it's one of my favorite movies. And it's just cool when you kind of see the references you grew up with being thrown into things now still. But does she the same level knowing her Millie? Yeah, Penelope's on another level. I don't know if we'll see her again. That's one thing with Bob's that is nice is that you do see people in the background. Like we do see like other characters that cause problems show up. Like Millie shows up. I'm blanking on her name right now. Rudy was really into her for a while. I can't remember it right now. It's escaping me. But she's like, what's her name? Chloe Barbash. So like Chloe, it's similar that way too, where you see them in the background. They do have a threat or play a threat, but they are not in every episode. But when they're there, they're there. And I do wonder if Penelope will make more appearances or be involved in other things. It would be creepy if Penelope and Millie teamed up to get back to the Belchers for something, but hopefully that won't happen. That'd be the creepiest dynamic duo. Which brings me to some questions I have just in general about things that you would like to see. Is there other characters that you would like to see be more prominent in the show? I know that's a question you and Mike have asked and are curious who you think. Because I know last week Mike proposed the question of, is there a side character that could have their own side show? And people had suggested like Gail or Bosco or other people. And we had talked about some ideas we had too. But we were just curious, is there any characters that you guys believe could have their own show? I think Ron and Hugo could, because it's kind of an odd couple dynamic anyway. So it could work out well, just having the food police, essentially, or the food sheriffs. Jimmy Pesto, we talked about that. I think that would be a solid one, too. Personally, I want another Tina San episode. I do, too. I like Sam. I really like him. I think he's awkward, just like Tina, and honestly, he kind of went out of his way to help Tina. And I think for her, that's a great thing to see, is that she actually has people that do appreciate her, even as awkward as she can be. They really do see that she has good intentions, and they want to help her, and they want to she was also the big cheese, too. He was the big cheese, and then she actually had fun with that. I still want to see more of the puppet person, too. There's a lot of characters that I like and would like to see more of, but Sam, I think, is someone I would like to see too come back. Really love Millie and want to see her again. I think Millie is used well. I think they figured out that Millie being chaotic evil isn't her best suit. I think it worked in the past, but now they've kind of made Millie more complicated and a little more involved and more evolved when it comes to her as a character. She has layers. So I think they're using her in a good way now, where she's more balanced. She helps the kids out. She also has her side, though. She does want things. Like Snackface was a great episode, an example of that. She has her evil side, but her intention is that she just wants a friend. But she just doesn't understand how to, keep a friend. And I think she kind of goes back and forth with, I need to manipulate to have this friend or to keep Louise around, when really, Louise and her have a decent thing a lot of times. It's just more or less Millie goes too far. And Harley. Yeah, Harley's fun. I do love Harley's, her little comments and things that she makes, especially during the, soccer episodes or, slumber party episode. Harley can be a good character. I think it's just you need to, Louise is so lone wolf sometimes that we kind of don't get enough of her side characters and her classmates. Still waiting for Daryl's. The last time we got a Daryl, I think, was the movie, and it was pretty short. I don't know if we will get more Daryl. It's kind of like, will we get Nikki back? I don't think we will get Nikki as much as we had him before. I think it's just not, because Bill's busy, and I think he's kind of stepped away a little bit when it comes to doing voices and acting and things like that. He's been it's wild to think about how involved and how much a lot of these actors were working, especially at the beginning of the show, that now it's been almost like 16, 15 years at this point. So like, it's been a while. They might be tired and they may just want to take a break from acting and things. They spend more time with their kids and their families and their lives and stuff like that. So they usually, you kind of see some people take a step back. So, Gary Trashman. I would like that actually, Aaron. And we were talking about Gary and the raccoons of like of the alley, and making it like almost like a Game of Thrones esque meets like what's that book series I read as a kid with the mice, not Rats of Nim, but like Brian, what's his name, wrote them. Redwall. Like a Redwall esque would be kind of fun with them like having their own like kingdoms, and they're like there's like royalty, and Little King Trashman's one of them, and like Linda could be narrating the stories. I think that would be kind of fun. I think it'd be interesting if the Belchers actually did one of those and they like made a story about the like raccoons, and they each narrated different things and different factions. I think that could be kind of fun to do. But I think there's quite a bit of a potential to have some fun spin-off episodes that don't necessarily center around the kids and the family, but actually have side characters, but keep the Belchers in it, but it's more like they're not the main plot. So I think the more they do that, like Amazing Rudy, because the Belchers are just a piece to that plot. They move it along, but they're not essential, or like the whole story's not about them. I think the more that Bob's can show that they can do that, the more it allows them to kind of build off those side characters that really are so interesting in our layer. Like Zeke has a lot going on layers wise that you can explore. So Gary Trashman, 3 Scales Cats. Yeah, I would like to see that too. That would be a fun way to keep Gail in the mix too, because it could be like Gail pops in and she's like, "What are we doing?" "Oh, we're just doing this thing where we tell stories about the raccoon." She's like, "Well, my cats can be involved," and then we get like Mr. Business is like an assassin sent in, and it could be fun. I think it could be a lot. It's playful, which I think can be good for people, especially like with Bob's. We sometimes get a little serious, and sometimes it's fun to get a little more playful. Also, the jokes this season, they're a little more back to like, I know Mike said like as comfortable as they are getting close to the old Bob, because we had like a whole thing where she's just like the ball drag, and they're like, "What's that?" And it's like, "Well, the rat scrotum drags along the ground and it leaves this thing," and they're like, "Yeah, Bob." Like they're making this reference to like Bob the rest of the episode about him doing that. So it's just fun that like we went back to those kind of jokes. I feel like those were off limits for a little while, or just like we weren't doing them as much. But there's been one, I think, every episode this season where it's been a little bit more of like, we're going back to some of those old jokes. They're a little more spicy or a little more edgy, but I think it works because as a whole, the show doesn't have a lot of it, but it sprinkles it, which I think makes sense. That's my boy getting his bath, and he loves it. So we're getting close to the end of the show, guys. So as we wrap things up, just to go over everything one more time, the next episode of Bob's Burgers will be airing on November 23rd, and that'll be Tube for Tina. Then we also are going to have trivia on the 17th, so catch us on that. I'll be live on YouTube Live. We'll start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so me and Mike will be there to host it. Maybe we'll still do the same thing that we do before, where it's me versus him. Maybe we'll do a thing where we try to find another way to do it. But if you have suggestions, always let us know. Just send us a message on Instagram. We're more than happy to check that out. If you need the art book, get it. It's on Amazon for $34. Totally worth getting it. If you want to support David Creek and the Traveling Tree Houses, go to Toddland. Get yourself a t-shirt, a hat, or a sticker, or even the book. If you have kids, it's a great kids book. I have a copy too. So you can get that, and all the donations go to that and help support the treehouses going to hospitals. I think this next stop is at Portland Children's Hospital. So it's a good fund. It's a good thing to do. And then I think that's about it for us right now. But again, if you have any questions or concerns or want us to like check things out, send us stuff. We're more than happy to share things. Yeah, I'm happy it got through too. I think they're getting a little more loose with what they let through, which I think is a good thing. I think it allows older fans to feel that their voice is heard, because it's usually the biggest complaint, is that they're like, the edginess is gone. It's like, it doesn't have to be edgy to be good. I think Family Guy's also kind of figured that out a little bit too, because then American Dad's similar in that respect. But last bit, forgot. Was it Cello or Christine brought up? We did an interview with Cartoon Chronicles. If you're not following Julian, you really should be. That dude gets killer interviews, and including like um, Joe Murray from Rocco's Modern Life. He's talked to like Chris Bartlett from like Hey Arnold. Like, if you grew up watching cartoons, especially like Snick and like Nickelodeon Nicktoons, or like cartoons from Saturday mornings, like, you gotta be following Julian and Cartoon Chronicles, because he does an amazing job just chit chat with those guys, and he catches Bob's Peoples too. Like, he's got who does he have on there right now? Todd Hayes. He had Todd Hayes on there, and he's there from the beginning. He was there from the very get-go of Bob's, and he's done so much stuff on Bob's that he's somebody that we'd love to talk to as well, because like, it's like Bernard and him did a lot of season 1 and getting the show ready to go. So he's a vat of amazing Bob's knowledge. So if you haven't following Julian and Cartoon Chronicles, do yourself a favor and give him a follow. He puts out podcasts as well, and me and Mike did our favorite Halloween episodes. That was our last one. We did the top 3, and then we will be doing one for Thanksgiving as well, hopefully with him, because those are my favorite episodes. We'll be doing that as well. But again, we're at time. So I'm JB. No Mike. Sorry, guys. But this is from North to Wharf, your one-stop destination for Bob's Burgers information. So again, we'll see you next time, next Monday. See you guys. Have a good Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for watching, Burger People. Mike and I will be back for another YouTube live show to discuss all things Bob's Burgers next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all things Bob's Burgers, including daily trivia, tattoos, news, new merchandise, and fan art, and beyond, be sure to give us a follow at Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Blue Sky. And remember, everyone, From North to Wharf is your unofficial but verified one-stop destination for Bob's Burgers information. Have a great week, Wharfers. We'll see you next time. Bye.